Hello and welcome to the fifth part of this tutorial. In this part we will try to create our first multiplication operation. We're going to multiply two numbers. To multiply the numbers, we will have to combine what we see in the previous tutorial, jumping from place to place. But in this case, we will make a loop. We will make it repeat itself the number of times needed for the number to be added, multiplied until it ends. Now, multiplication, if you think about it a bit, is really the number of times you add the number itself to the number to himself, yeah, a certain number of times, which means that if I multiply 3 by 4, it is either 4 times adding 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, or 3 times adding 4 to itself, 4 plus 4 plus 4. Okay, really multiplication is the operation of adding many times. And because we don't have a multiplication operator, and honestly I like it that way because that way we can make this kind of nice operations. Because we don't have those, we have to use our imagination and combine this kind of systems, okay? So what we'll do right now, we'll do very similar to we'll do the same or very similar thing that we did before. We will put two numbers in one number in AL, the second number in BL, and we will start and we will multiply, yeah, the numbers. The result we can put the result in CL, okay? Because eventually, if we have 7 by 1, the first result should be 7, okay? 7 by 2 it should be 14, 7 by 3 21, and so on, okay? So first, if we're going to multiply 5 by 3 or 5 by 3, let's do it. So let's prepare move BL3. Okay, let's prepare the information. Right now we put, and let's clear CL to be 0. Okay, so very important, we are initializing the variables. It's a job that we will have to do from now on to the last day of our lives when we work in programming. We have to always initialize the variables. Okay, so we initialized our variables for the following word. Okay, so what we will do is define the first step of multiplication, which is eventually adding AL to CL. Okay, because right now it's 0. The first, if it's by 1, if it will be by 1, then we have to add. Why I'm doing that? Because you will see how eventually, if we do this, we are really putting the first value, the first iteration of the loop of the multiplication. Okay, so let's say that we execute this line, and what will happen is that in CL we're going to have the value 5. Okay, but what that really means, it means that it will be equal to multiplying 5 by 1. And what we'll have to do right now, what we will do is decrease the value of BL. Okay, so we take down one of the loop, we put BL from 3 to 2, yeah, trying to get to the last number, which is 0. Okay, why? Because we have, if you can see here, a control command that is called not 0 or 0. If it's 0, it means that we already finished our multiplication and we can continue on. If it's not 0, yeah, we can tell him to go back up again and execute the same lines until it finally is 0. Yes, you will see right now what I mean. If I put subtract from BL, even you can either put subtract from BL1, yes, Or you can just put decrease BL, which will decrease by the number of BL by 1. Yeah, and you can question and you can condition, see if jump if not 0. If this operation gives us not 0, what we want is to jump up here and execute it again. It means that we're not really finished in our multiplication. If BL was 1, yeah, the value of BL would have been 1, then it will be 0. And obviously, if we put 5 in CL, yeah, it's enough because we multiply 5 by 1 is equal to 5. Okay? But if it's not 0, we jump up here. And we can call it multiplication, multi 2 points, okay, the label. So we know where to jump back. Okay, once it's finished, this should show us the multiplication between two numbers here in CL. Let's try it. It's compiled successfully, and let's start working on it. So we move to the two values, 5 and 3, and we start. Sorry, I pressed the wrong bar. Okay, and we start by executing by adding CL and AL. Because CL is 0, yes, and it's here we also put here, then it should be equal to 5. And yes, it's equal to 5. We decrease BL by 1. Now BL is 2. And we ask ourselves, okay, is it 0? Because if it's not, I needed to go back here and execute this line again and add again 5 to CL, which in this time will be 10. Let's keep going. It's not really 0. It will jump up again, and it will add to CL again 5. Now we are at 10. And when we decrease to BL 1, now we are at BL is now at 1. And again, we ask, is it 0? It's not 0. So we jump again up, and we execute these lines again, and eventually CL will be 15, BL will be 0, and now we ask, is it 0? Is it not 0? It is 0. So because it is 0, it can continue down and finish the program. Okay? It's very important to understand this, because if there is a possibility, and this obviously when you are developing, yeah, you're working in your development and you're learning from how to develop, there is a possibility that you may, for example, forget to put a decrease. Okay. Okay. If we do this, okay, let's compile. It will compile. It shouldn't be any problem, and you will execute. And the problem is that you're gonna keep going forever. Okay. And if you execute this one, which is run the application without stopping, in the end, well, it ends because it's interesting. Why it ended, I have no idea. Let's try it again. Let's start from the beginning. I mean, what I'm trying to do is that you see how probably it ends because, it ends because this condition is making the condition on this, not on this. And in some moment, these two give 0, so it ends. But if we put again decrease BL, and instead of doing G and C, jump if not 0, we just do a jumping, we compile. I want you to see what happens when it goes forever. See, it will not stop ever, okay? And the app will not stop you. What we can do in these cases, when you get stuck in an infinite loop, which is called an infinite, you can stop it here, okay? Well, you should try not having this problem, because as you can see, it's not really responding anymore. Oh, great. Now I'm gonna open it again. Okay. But as you can see, it's very important that this stop option should allow you to stop the app. In this case, it didn't allow me, but okay. So with this, we finished this part of the tutorial. We made the multiplication, or I recommend you to do the division, for example. We will later on work on inputs, outputs, and how to communicate with the outside world, how to use these elements out in here. Okay, great.